Okay, so today I wanted to start with some fun facts, which I always like to do. So right now we are in America, and one of the top best world champions from the United States, his name is Bobby Fischer, and he had a very interesting life that I just wanted to share with you. So Bobby Fischer was very young. He was from Brooklyn. He was not very wealthy at all, but he kept obsessing over chess while his classmates were learning Shakespeare and doing like baseball. He was always going to the chess games and stuff, and he ended up leaving school early. There was also some complicated family issues, and he ended up dedicating all of his time to chess. And then when he was much older, he played Boris Spassky, who was a Russian chess master or grandmaster, and they ended up playing a game right in the middle of the Cold War. So it actually had a big impact because it was like the United States proved that it could beat Russia in something, which was very powerful back then.
Mhm.
Oh, Raphael is here.
Yes, Rafael is here.
Okay. Maybe I'll give him a summary when he comes back, when he shows up.
Yes. Yeah. Here he is among the trees.
Hello, Raphael.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Hi.
I'm doing good.
So today is the last class, so I was going over, I was just sharing some stuff about Bobby Fischer. Have you ever heard his name before?
Yeah, he was a chess player, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know which nationality, but he's a chess player.
Yes, yeah. So I was just showing a quick summary because so Bobby Fischer, he was from Brooklyn, United States, and when he got much older, he always dedicated his time and his life to chess. And then when he got older, during the Cold War, Boris Spassky, who was a Russian grandmaster, they had a match, and Bobby Fischer won in the 1970s, and it just had it just made a big impact in the Cold War because Russia was always seen as the very intelligent nation with all these records of how they were how they just always like were the kind of intellectual ones of the world, especially in this wartime. So the fact that Bobby Fischer won, it just really had this big impact for the world because it was like, oh, Americans who do football and baseball, now they're winning a chess match. So it was just giving an example of how chess can have a worldly impact, especially because it's seen as kind of an intellectual game, and it had a big impact during the Cold War. So it's an interesting fact about Bobby Fischer. Okay, and always you can always look up the world champions who came from your country, and you can study their games. And I always recommend that because, especially in geography, there are certain styles and stuff based on geography. So that's why like the Spanish, it's a very unique opening, and it's you can choose to play, but you can always look up your own country, your own grandmasters, and see if their location had any effect on their play, which it probably did. Okay, so today I'm going to review some stuff, and then I'm going to go over a game in full. But I'm going to have you help me choose the moves. And then after that, after we get about mid-game, then I want to just go over a few checkmates so that we can review those too. Okay, so first thing I did was I set up the chessboard, but I set it up wrong. So one of the first things we learned was how to set up the chessboard. So I'm going to quiz you on that. And I'm going to give you maybe a minute or two because I know it's hard to see through the camera. But I'm going to give you some time to point out every mistake that's on this chessboard right now. So you can begin right now.
The first one I see is B1.
E1. Wait, E1?
B1.
E1,
The
so king?
The knight should be next to the queen, and on the other side, B1.
D1.
B.
Oh, B1. B1.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So you're very close. It's actually the opposite. This one was wrong. Bishop
This
should
one.
be next.
This one. Yeah, this one is wrong. Now I'm remembering.
Yeah, so it's G1 is the one. So yeah, knights always belong next to the rook. Knights always belong next to the rook. So I got you so far. I tricked you so far.
But
So don't let me do it again.
wasn't I thought it was I thought it was opposite. I didn't remember how they were placed.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, that's why we do these exercises to try and remember this.
No, I'm sure there's a mistake on F8.
Yep.
On the
So what do we switch F8? H8. Good job. So remember, rooks always belong in the corner. Like they're the holders of the deck. Okay.
I think the queen and the king have to be switched on the black.
On the black one, very good. Queen always sits on the square of her own color. Right now, the black queen is on the white square, and that is not how it's supposed to be. Black queen goes on black square, white queen starts on white square. It's easier to remember.
Yeah, otherwise you're not able to castle.
Yeah.
Switch.
No, I think that the rook has to be, flipped with the pawn.
Yep, I switched to these two. That'd be ridiculous for the pawn to be on the back rank. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Oh, there's more? I think that Oh, there is
wait. No, that's it.
That's it, yeah.
That's it. You guys got everything? Okay. Very good. So yeah, I just like to do this because sometimes when your opponent sets up the pieces wrong, and let's say you're in a tournament and you start the game, well, if your opponent is playing with the board setup wrong and somebody catches it, especially in a tournament where you're playing for money, they cannot do anything about it. You just have to keep playing that way because either you terminate the entire game or you have to play from the way it is. You cannot change it in the middle of the game because that's, and of course that would be ridiculous. So always make sure to never make this bad mistake. Okay, next thing I want to go over that we went over in some of the first times is just piece movement. So I'm going to play as white and Raphael. Actually, I'm going to play as black because it's moving this way. I'm going to play as black, and Raphael, why don't you play as white, okay? So give me a move. And remember the opening things that we learned too, because we're going to be reviewing that also. So remember the rules for the opening. Make sure you use each of them. So it's your turn.
E4. The pawn on E4.
E4, very good move. Very central. That's a good move. I'm going to play E5.
I know I'm going to lose.
I think you should develop like the can I help him? I don't know if I'll help him or mess him up. I don't know. But I think bishop, like you should take out some.
Yeah.
If you freed the bishop, I would go to
maybe to C4.
Did you say bishop C4?
Yeah.
Bishop C4?
Yeah.
Okay. Bishop to C4 is a very good move. It's playing the Italian.
There's someone else joining chess.
Yes, somebody else is joining chess. Good morning. But yeah, continue. They will say hello or not, but
And now what I'm going to do is move the knight to F3. Oh, is
okay, I'm gonna let you double check that move.
It's moves 1 to the side and 3 up. I think.
Okay, so you want to move knight to f3. Well, I guess it's not super bad, but now you're getting into one of these awkward positions.
Ah, yeah, you get stuck.
Yeah, so I'm going to capture this because it's free. And if you capture this, you have this threat, right? So now I have to figure out how to stop this threat. Probably going here because you don't have the pawn here. So now you just have to move away. These are, see these awkward positions? This is why we play by specific openings. Because if there's a specific opening that you can follow, it's like most of it is already predicted. So you don't have to get in these like weird, like this position seems not so great for white and really kind of better for black because black has a center pawn out. But they have kind of the same development and my bishops are really open and my queen can come out. And you see, so, okay, so I don't know if you remember this rule, but while I was talking about the openings, I mentioned something about knights before bishops. So knights before bishops. And people are always confused about this because they go, well, what does it matter? Right? They're worth the same amount. Aren't these two worth the same amount? Why does it matter who's first? Well, it matters because in the opening, knights are going to be a little better than bishops and more helpful. In cases like this, when you bring your pawns out, knights are going to be the best defenders of your pawns, much better than a bishop. Because if you put your bishop here, now your pawn is very sad because he can't move, and your bishop is very sad because he's being blocked because he's a bishop. He went to college to become a bishop, but he's being paid as a pawn. So he's really, really losing out there. So this is why we want to use knights to defend pawns most of the time because it's really not a bishop's place to be doing this. Of course, bishop c4 is a very good move. That's the Italian. But it's not really the Italian unless you bring your knight out first. So knights before bishops. And I'm going to go back to the beginning of the game. And we're going to try this again, okay?
You went away, the other person.
That's okay. Let's keep focusing on the game. Yeah, I mean, people try out things. So we're doing it again?
I will
Starting it again?
And doing e4 again?
Yeah. e5.
Then move the knight to
f3.
Yeah, that's a good move. This is a good move. This is very standard move. Knight e4, knight f3. And see the difference is there's no knight sitting here, right? So if we bring this knight out, this isn't gonna attack it. But what do? We're attacking something, right?
Yeah.
Raphael, what are we attacking?
Yeah. We are attacking the pawn.
Yeah, exactly. So you're just starting to grab initiative. So yeah, that's very good. So in response to this, I'm gonna defend my pawn by playing knight c6. Now I'm defending. If you take, I'm going to take you back. So it's your turn. Now here's a good time to start bringing out the bishops.
Yeah, the bishop to c4 or?
Yeah, bishop c4, like Raphael said earlier, except what's the difference, Raphael?
Now he can't taking because it's protected by the knight or something like that.
Yeah, the knight is out. So when the knight's out, this move doesn't really scare us anymore. Or this move doesn't put a big damper on the situation. This move, now we can do something like the fried liver if they play this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it because they probably know how to play against the fried liver. But if you're playing one of those cheap games, but no, seriously, like in this position though, we're not worried about this pawn and this pawn because we just bring out this, right?
Yeah.
So we bring out this, but It really is different though, because now with both our knights developed in this, we can get castled immediately, and it's just always a lot smoother when you bring your knights before bishops. So I'm gonna move here.
Now I'm going to castle.
Castle, good. Oh, you know what? Actually, hi, yes, I'm in the classroom. So
Do not see any.
actually, a better
threat.
move that I want, I'm gonna play is actually Bishop C5, because Bishop C5 is a better response to this, and I don't really want us to do the fried liver right now, but if in case you wanted to try it, I was gonna see. But anyway, you castled. Okay, that's a really good move. Because you know, obviously there's no holes. It's a nice blockhouse. We have the pieces developed. Okay, I'm gonna bring my knight out, because now this is not a threat to me anymore. If you go here, I can just castle. And remember, 2 pieces are worth more than a rook. 2 pieces are worth more than a rook. Okay, go on, Raphael.
Should I bring out the
other knight?
The other knight, you mean?
Yeah, the other knight is a good idea. And remember always, where do you want to put him?
C3.
E3.
C3. Yep, it's a good move, right? Knights belong in the center. Remember, if we remember that circle that we put, one of the first classes, we put that circle here. This is why we put the knights in the center. I just want to go over really quickly. If we were to put our knights over here, that circle would be cut in half.
Yeah.
So it's very important to always remember, well, why do we put our knights in the center? Because then you get a full circle all the way around.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm going to castle now. Okay, that's your turn.
What about moving the pawn in front? Oh, wait a second. I feel like there's too much. The pawns are blocking too much on the white side. Like to open the bishop, maybe the pawn from D2 to
D3, because otherwise it's going to be a threat. I think,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
it can, and then if it can capture so many pieces. So what I would do is moving the pawn only to D3.
That's a very good instinct, because actually most of these openings are actually designed to help you be able to push both pawns. Now, the reason that they get complicated with certain move orders, which are very important because of tempo, if we were to go here now, we would lose this very quickly, even though we have guards, because what would happen at the end? Oh, like after all that, we'd lose our, you'd have to lose your queen or lose a piece. So that is very good. That is a very good instinct that you had there, because it is true. This opening is designed to help you play d4. Now the only thing is you have to be patient. You have to wait maybe up until, and that's kind of what separates the opening from the middle game. The middle game is actually where you would end up pushing this pawn, because once you push that pawn successfully without losing any material, you actually end up busting open the whole center. So it's very interesting how this happens. So in the opening, everything people, they're playing safe, they're being cautious, they're developing things, they're planning ahead. They're not really making any rash decisions to like trade off a bunch of pieces, because it's not really a good idea in the opening. Playing moves like this is very wise to do, because you know that it's not time to bust open the center yet. Now in the middle game, that's when, after you're comfortable with your position, let's say you have a better position, you're more structural, you have more of an attack that you can form. And remember, attacks start forming in like behind these pawns. They start forming behind the walls. And then when you bust everything open, then you have an attack. And that's one of the very beautiful things about chess, is that you can plan things behind doors, right? These pawns are kind of like a wall or a door. You plan things behind them, and then you can end up revealing it by a simple pawn trade. I'm very glad that you saw this, because this is a very important concept for beginners to grasp. Okay, so I have a few choices here. I can probably just copy you playing this, which might be seen as more passive whenever you copy your opponent. I'm probably going to do that, or this, because this also lets my bishop out. It's called fianchetto. This is a good move also, but you see it puts my bishop in kind of an awkward place because I cannot move back anymore. I have different options here. This is where things start to become more like you get to choose a path, and it'll go in a complete opposite direction in the opening. But let's see what we can do. I'm just gonna play this. This is a pretty standard move. I need to let my bishop out. Of course, I'm not going to play d5. It's out of the question. Okay, it's your turn.
Um, um, tempted to say the pawn from B2 to go to B4. No, B3.
B3. Okay, so what is your goal of this move?
Just to have two openings for the C, for the bishop at C. I can go, I don't know, I can open on the left and also on the right, but and also at some point if I take the bishop, I don't know, I guess not.
So this is an interesting move, but deciding on the bishop's path should have been something that we do before moving our pawns, right? So if we're gonna move the bishop this way, we should commit to moving this pawn. Or if we were gonna open it this way, you need to commit this way, right?
Got it.
It just goes back to, we need to save our moves. We can't be like super, we can't just give away our moves like that, because it can cause, we can be behind in the ultimate game. So, it's a good idea to like try and, okay, I want to expand the number of squares that my piece can move to, except the only thing is we don't really want our bishop to stay here. We'd rather it go like maybe out here.
Yeah, that's what I wanted, yeah.
This is a good move. Or maybe even here is a little better because you get off of the back rank. So, Raphael, do you have any ideas?
What about E3? Because if the black bishop catches you can get it back with the pawn, so it's protected.
Yeah, this is this is actually a good move that I see played sometimes. Yeah, if bishop takes, pawn takes, and now you actually add it to your center pawns. This is one of the only times that a doubled pawn is good, because let's say you just sped up to when you get to play this move. So you take, now you have two like wonderful center pawns. So that's a very good move. Because doubled pawns in the center, it's not really a big deal because they can back each other up and you can make things move faster. And then the other thing is, remember, rooks belong on open files. This is a very nice open file for this rook. So that's a good move. I'm glad that you brought that up. Now, as black, I already know that trading would be better for white, so I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to move here, which I'm not moving this to bring my bishop out. I'm moving this to add pawns to my center. So if you were to take me, instead of taking here, which would move my pawn out of the center. I'm going to take here, moving my pawns into the center. So I'm, you know, if you're playing a chess player who knows what they're doing, they'll see a move like bishop e3 and want to respond to it by making their position better. They don't want to always bite the candy and then be put in a position where they're not doing as well. And then, of course, if you had a position like this, now these pawns are so strong that my knight could just sit here for as long as he wants. Even if you trade, I'm going to have my pawn here. It's like, it gets really bad for white because this, it's still closed, but when I break open the center, oh my goodness, you're going to be in big trouble because I'm making your pieces move back, I'm undeveloping your pieces, I'm taking up more squares, I'm making my pieces better. And that is why you would not want to trade in as white. If I play here b6, you do not want to trade with my bishop, and I do not want to trade with your bishop. So we'd probably just get into this position where we're just staring at each other and not really doing anything. Yeah, do you want to play bishop to e3, Raphael?
Yeah.
Okay, so I move to b6. All right, it's your turn.
I wonder if the knight could go to d5. Oh, no. No. I don't like that both my rooks are so blocked by things. Should we move the rook to where? What about the pawn from g2 to g4?
Did you say g4?
Oh, that's a king there, right?
Yeah, that's gonna put a big hole in our.
Yeah. No, oh my God, no.
What about moving the knight?
Yeah, think about your move. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna shut the door.
What about the rook to b5?
Rook.
Not the rook, the knight. Sorry, the knight.
Rook to b5. So I'm gonna ask Raphael, what do you think about this move, Raphael?
She moved the rook. Oh, which piece did she move?
The knight.
Knight to b5. What do you think about this move, subjectively?
The piece is a bit stuck there.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. So I'm just. So what is your future plan with this?
Well, I mean, I can go back to, I mean, oh, yeah. I don't know.
Because if you go to d6, you're going to lose
No, I would not go to
the
D6.
pawn. If you go to a7, you're going to lose it with the rook. If you go to c8, you're going to lose it with the queen.
C7.
So what I would do, I would move maybe the knight that's on f3 to maybe to g5. I don't know if that's a wise move to do, because there's the same situation then.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Your
Like the
picture
same,
is dim,
it's the same
and
thing. Yeah, it's the
it
same
is dim.
thing. So what I thought, what about h4?
You say h4, knight
Yeah.
to h4. So what are we doing to
That
the
was
rook though? I mean, what are we doing though? What did we do? We cut this guy's circle in
yeah,
half.
yeah. So we shouldn't move it there. I think I wonder if the bishop. What the heck is the bishop? I was seeing a bishop. Oh yeah, the bishop from e3 to. But then we have to come back. I don't know past that move.
This is actually very common. After the opening, which we've gotten past now because we castled, we brought out our center pawns, we developed all our pieces, and we tried to capture the center. We're pretty much done with the opening now. But the thing is, what I get from a lot of my students is, now what? Now what do I do? Am I supposed to, like, and then I start to see moves like this. So the thing with Rook b5, the reason that I don't like it is, one, like Raphael said, it doesn't have much of a future at all. It's not going to go here. It's not going to, it's not really going to do anything. And the other thing is, I'm probably just going to kick it out. Do the donkey kick. Make him go back. Like back here. Not back here because that's really bad. There's nowhere to go. Same with this move. I'm just going to do the donkey kick. And this pole in my house is not as, I'm not as worried about it because this is protected and it's harder to get inside this hole. If I were to do something like this, that's much worse. But if the pawns are still connected, this is very important. This is not really that much different than this because it's, there's a structure. In this move, again, it's you cut off half of the knight's resources. He's not really going to go anywhere without having to face some weird challenges. Like if you take, and then you're going to bring my pawn out of this. You're going to bring your pawn out of the center. Yeah, it's kind of a bizarre place to put it because he can move here. He's probably just going to end up going back here soon. And what was your other move suggestions? Do you have any others?
I have no idea now.
I wonder if the rook, no, the rook can go to, I mean, I don't know, this is sort of a useless move, or maybe not. I don't remember the moves.
Don't be shy. You can tell me.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, I don't know why to do side move with the rook, but I don't know if that, or just move the pawn from B to, wow.
What are your thoughts, Raphael?
I thought about maybe moving the bishop somewhere. If we move it to d5, it's stuck. I don't think if that's a good move. d5, even
You
if
say the bishop?
Yeah, I don't think it's a good move for that one. That one, the bishop on c4. If I move it to d5, I don't know if it's a good move because it's stuck there, but it's still protected by the pawn. But
Yeah, that's an interesting move. Probably just gonna go here though. It's guarded. It's an interesting idea though, but it did break one of our rules, which is try not to move one piece twice in the beginning.
yeah.
I would move the pawn from B2 to B3, whatever.
B3?
I don't know. I mean,
Okay. So yeah, these are some interesting ideas. So this move I don't really like as much because we're cutting off the bishop's resources, and it's, you know,
yeah.
if something were to happen up here, I mean, knight could even go here, you know, and I'm losing places that I can really go to.
Uh-huh.
You see, so I don't, this is a very powerful bishop for me. This is my light squared bishop. I'm sorry, for you. So this is a light squared bishop, and it's actually one of your favorite pieces because it's actually on the same diagonal as the king. But the only thing coming in the way is this pawn. So this can really be a good bishop for you in the long run. It can be very helpful. So we want to take care of it always. So, you know, we want to be able to retreat it if it becomes that. And if your knight goes here, it's even good to play something like this. Then you can, you know, really go back so this move doesn't matter so much. Especially since we already played d3, which is, you know, might have caused this problem for this bishop too because we cannot move back. Now this move I thought was interesting. Whoops. Now this move I thought was interesting because you are attacking. There's this piece doesn't have, like, it's become a threat because there are no pawns. But I can play stuff like this or like this. And now this piece's future he's probably going to trade. And it's not the end of the world for the bishop. It's just that you could do better things with it. So I'm not even saying that this is a poor move. I think that it'd probably be fine. You're not going to worsen your position really in any way. But I think it's just a matter of can your position be better? So with this move, I think that this is worsening our position a little bit because we are able to trade this, but trade it in a way. See, we lost our better, you know, and also in a way where we have to like start wasting all this time on this bishop. If he takes here, then of course we can do this. So it's probably, I'd have to look at this one some more, definitely, because this is kind of a position I haven't seen very much. But yeah, I think, you know, I think neither moves are like, I don't think either of them are worse, but I think you have a better opportunity to make it better. There's also stuff that I'm probably not seeing that makes those, you know, that the black could do to take advantage of those moves. It's definitely better than this move and like this move because these moves really don't do anything. They're just like kind of time waster moves. So yeah, I mean, right here, I'd probably either try and
Yeah.
get my bishop a safe square, yeah, or if I'm not gonna try and pursue an attack with this guy, I'd probably go rook e1. I do this because
Yeah.
it's more likely that I'm gonna break open the center, and these pawns are gonna probably be gone. So I'm kind of putting my chances on the center breaking open, which is probably more likely than f2 to be broken open, or like a1. Same thing with this guy. This is actually a part of the opening too, for a lot of people, and it's where you connect to the rooks, and you can bring them on the D
Yeah,
and E square.
that's what I wanted, to be honest. But
yeah, it's a very good idea to try and do this.
yeah, that's why I wanted what I said to go lateral with the rooks, but I didn't know.
Yeah, I should have been more caught you on that. Then we could have gone over that. But okay, so yeah, right here I'd probably play something like this, or you know. But now we are past the opening, and this is where you have to start to get, you know, this can be a tricky part because we often play a lot of the game kind of like without really thinking about it, kind of like robotic moves. And then when you get to a point like this, you have to figure out really what you're doing. And you have to think beyond one move or two moves or even three moves. You have to think beyond that. You have to try and put yourself in the shoes. And this is also very much of chess is playing a game with yourself, because you have to respond to your own moves. So in your head, you think, okay, well, I might play this, and then you'll have to respond to it. Okay, this, and then what? So you have it's always to be a good chess player. You always have to think moves ahead. I think it's very important. That's what a move like this does. You're thinking moves ahead. You're planning, like, yes, I'm going to break the center open, and this rook is going to be useful later, but not right now, and that's okay. So, and those kind of moves are those long-term moves are always going to be more helpful after after the middle game. But it's not really a beginner's class to go over so much the middle game, because you start to get into more like chess theory and personal preference and like influence from other books and other players. So as a beginner, I just wanted to go over the opening and how to kind of approach the middle game, just lightly. I'm not going to go over too deep, but just to approach lightly. When you have all this structure that you set up, we really did a lot. You did a lot, Raphael, and Rodrigo, like you did, because look, this is a very good structure. You're already building a really good team, so they have a lot of resources. But now it's like, how do we keep up this reputation, and how do we keep up the security and like attack potential? So how do we keep it up? And that's kind of the difficult thing of having to kind of think for yourself in the game and stuff. And the middle game is definitely where I think that starts the most. Anyway, I'd like to go over one other opening. Maybe I'll show you two, actually, because they're both kind of similar. So last time I was talking about what I play, and so I'll talk about that now, because what I play is it's kind of like unique to my preference. I'm more of like a creative player. So I like to take risks, and I like to get into positions that are not really usual and standard. So if you want to see what I do, so I'll just show you something that I would play, and maybe I can even take some suggestions on some moves. So as white, I like to play e4. Let's say they respond with this, knight f3. This is usually how a lot of games start: knight e4, e5, knight f3. If they go here, I like to play the Spanish. And the standard move here is they kick me out. Okay, that's fine. I move back. And if they kick me out again, I actually, you know what? If they kick me out the first time, I can actually take here. And if they take, I'm going to win this pawn. So this is one of those exceptions that I was talking about last time. But usually they see this coming. So after, let's say I don't take and I move back, this is actually kind of a mistake to play here, because if I move here, if they take their bishop out or if they take their knight out, I can kind of do the fried liver to them. So this is, and nobody wants that. So so after here, this is the next like standard move. They leave my bishop alone because they know that if I move it back here, it kind of turns into the Italian again. So they move there, and I can castle. And this is where, it gets complicated. I'm not really teaching basic chess theory anymore, because after he takes, I actually pin. This is called a pin. And I'm going to do a little review of it later. But I'm pinning the rook to the pawn. So let's say the rook moves back. Well, I just won his pawn. If he takes, I take, right? And now my rook is on this amazing file. So this is, yeah, so this is a very, this is how it can go. So that's why I castle. Another thing I
then,
can do is rook c3, but I'll show you why I don't do it. So
and,
let's say they bring their bishop here, or even here. I see this a lot too. I actually play c3. Now I play c3 instead of knight c3 because I want to kind of speed up the process of me moving to d4. I'm gonna basically make the middle game come sooner than usual. And the other thing I'm doing with c3 is I'm basically making this one of my most powerful minor pieces because I'm giving it a little looking square so that when this leaves later, this is probably not going to be there later, then I'm going to be attacking this pawn. So if he castles, I'm going to be looking right at his pawn. So let's say he castles. After I play c3, let's say he castles. So a completely fine move. Now I'm actually going to play here. So again, I just play d3 to prepare to play d4. And then let's say he brings it. Oh, now I see stuff like this usually. Like, okay, now he's going to kick out my bishop. I move back. Then it's like kind of a fianchetto, which is bringing out your bishop on the side, giving them a scope. And then I can develop my knight to here. And then what I'll do later, I'll just show you my side. What I want my position to eventually look like is I want my rook on e1, I want my knight to go to g3, so I have two knights on my king side. And then I'm going to bring out my bishop, and eventually I'm just going to be able to play this, and this is going to be great. I'm going to blow up in the center, and I'm going to have the most of the center pawns because they take. Yeah, I'll come out ahead. So that I just wanted to show you what I play because again it depends on your style and you can always look up even on Google like chess openings, chess openings tutorials, and you can find a lot of people talking about what they play and why they play it. So it can be very helpful, and again it will all really determine on what happens in the middle game because the middle game is it's the part where you really start to have this it's probably the most unique part of the game based on the player. Okay, now since we went over that, I'm just gonna do some review about castling. Let's see, this is here. Okay, Raphael. I'm just gonna set up a weird random position. All right, can we castle here?
nope.
Nope, why not?
Because the king cannot move into check.
Yeah, or through check. Yeah, exactly. All right. Can I castle here?
No, because he's going to move into check 2 because it's able to move to g1.
Very good. Yeah, and of course, if I am in check, I of course cannot castle, right? Good. Now, what if my king has moved already?
Done. Yeah,
Yep.
the game over for that one.
What if I moved already and then I moved back? Can I castle still? Nope.
Bad luck. No.
What if I move my rook?
No.
All right, now here's the ultimate question. Can you castle queenside? Can you guess?
You can?
You can.
Yeah.
You can castle queenside and kingside. Kingside, but it's the same thing. So how do we castle kingside, Raphael?
You put your king to g1 and
Two
then
squares, good. G1, now what?
and then you put your rook to f1.
F1, very good. This is castling. Good, yeah. Now it's actually the same thing on the other side. We take our king, move 1, 2 squares, and then rook jumps over. And there's this extra space over here, but it doesn't change the fact that the king only moves 2 squares. So if anything, it's the rook that has the change. So yes, You can castle queenside and kingside. Same rules apply though. You cannot castle in check, through check, or out of check, and you cannot castle if your rook or king has already moved. So good, we reviewed that. All right. Let's just do, let's see. Okay, we're running out of time. All right. So,
rooks.
so I just want to go over some checkmates, because remember we did the rook roller at the beginning, which is very important because checkmate is very important part of the game. Let's say it looks like this. So what does the pawn become when it gets to the other side of the board?
Queen.
It can be traded for a queen, a rook, a knight, and I forgot the last one. I think there were 4. And
Bishop.
a bishop.
Bishop, yes. So yeah, it can become any of those things. So I'm going to set up a position. Okay. You are white in this position, and I want you to checkmate me, okay? It's your turn.
And how many moves?
I have to count. It's I'm not gonna tell you because it's probably too many. It's
Okay. What I'm going to move the pawn to b6.
Yep. I'm going to go here.
I'm going to move to b7. It's not you cannot go there.
Very good. Can I move to c8?
No.
No, because the pawn is reaching out his arm and he can attack me now. I'll go the other side. What's the winning move?
And then I'm going to move to b8, and that's the whole game, I would think.
What do you want to turn your piece into?
Queen.
Into a queen.
Queen. So you move here and you promote to queen. Yep. And what does this look like? It kind of reminds you of the rook roller, except there's a queen involved, but it's the same concept. Cutting off a rank and checking with the next one. So that's very good. So yeah, this is checkmate. Set up one other checkmate. Okay, checkmate me in one move.
Moving. No. That's bad. I don't. One move. Putting the queen to b5.
E5.
No, that's not a good idea.
And I don't think the queen can go to E5.
B5. But that's not a good idea, I think.
Yeah, I'm just gonna move out. You have checkmate. You have checkmate in one move.
Okay.
Oh, the bishop to d8. I don't know if that's.
Bishop to D8 is not check though, because bishops cannot move.
No, right. No, but I meant okay. Oh God, what the?
I think it's something stupid we are missing out. Something easy. Wow.
Okay, so I think in one move.
What about to b8?
B8. I'm probably just gonna move up here.
Where is it hiding, that square?
Think about where these two pieces connect. Where they connect on a square.
They would connect on the E7.
E7, queen or bishop?
I would say bishop because the queen can go all around.
Well, this isn't check though. I'm just gonna like move over here.
Yeah. Then then take the queen because then he.
Yeah, queen here, because it moves in all directions, it is checking the king. And it is preventing the king from moving side to side, and it is protected by the bishop. Cannot take because that'd be moving into check. So yes, this is checkmate. Because this one was challenging, I'm gonna do another one. Okay, fine, checkmate in one move.
H7.
H7, yeah, see? Checkmate. Can he capture?
No.
No, see, so these, trying to, yeah, don't overcomplicate it. It's usually pretty. Let's see here. Okay, checkmate me in one move.
B5.
B5, very good. See, don't overcomplicate it. In fact, one thing I wanted to say was even when all of those pieces are on the board, especially in like the middle game and the opening, where it can seem super complex and basically all that's going on is these things, but just in different sections. So if we break it up as these, you could do practice tactics on leechess.org. If you break it up, just these little mini tactics in different parts of the board, it actually makes the game a whole lot simpler, and it makes you able to progress a lot faster.
Wow.
Yeah, very well, very good though.
Nice. So do you have any advice? So I guess you did give us some advice, but anything more, I don't know. I don't even know if that's a good question, because you, along the way, you told us directions where to, do this and that. But I don't know, for somebody who finds it that it's too hard, or anything to inspire kids, just, do you have any from your own life, or when did you find it hard, or that kind of thing, or what will add spice to the game, or?
Yeah, so probably for me, the best advice would be to always have fun, okay? Because I often, way too often, see my students take it so seriously that a loss really hurts who they are, and that's not what this has been about. I mean, even if you're playing for a prize, the prize is just should be just an addition to the fun that you're having. You should only play this game if you love it and you have fun with it. It shouldn't be anything more than that, I think. And that's what I think Bobby Fischer really had, because everyone was always convincing him not to be a chess player. But the one thing that kept bringing him back was he just loved the game, and he really felt at home when he was playing the game. And that was something that I really related to, especially growing up. And the only other advice that I can give is just practice every day, and you will really impress yourself and impress others around you with what you will be able to learn.
Wow. And would you start with strategies, or you just keep switching strategies, study some games, some openings, just a bit of everything?
So my mom actually wrote a book called Tactics Time.
Oh.
And it's a tactics book. It was a bestseller on Amazon for under chess category. And it's basically just tactic after tactic after tactic. And if you are a very serious chess player, I of course recommend doing one of those every day, at least. Like going, okay, I need to do my tactic, after you eat breakfast, or So this is of course more on the strategy side, because if you practice, this is a tactic actually. if you practice these patterns, you'll start to see them all the time. So practicing strategy, and then of course playing. The best way to practice chess is probably to play, because what's better than your own experience?
Wow, that sounds awesome. Thank you, Tara, and thank you for these lovely classes. And
Thank you.
we hope at some point to see you in person.
Yes, yes.
Let's do this in
It's
person.
going to be hard because I live so far away.
I know, dear.
Again on the Zoom.
Yeah, unless
Yeah, it was nice meeting you, Lauren.
thank you.
And yeah, I really hope I helped. So,
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It was amazing.
bye.